What was the atmosphere like heading into that game? People were walking in with free Pouncy shirts, and obviously Freddie Kitchens had the Pittsburgh Started It shirts. That felt like more like a college rivalry game than an NFL game.
Well, I wouldn't put it with Ohio State and that team up north, but it's always a challenge when you go up against an AFC North opponent, and all the hoopla that went in during the game of the first time. I think both teams just wanted to win. We knew the best way to shut up an opponent is to beat them on the scoreboard.
One of the greatest things ever, too, Ohio State will never mention
the
Michigan.
team up north is so awesome.
Listen, I love the grind with that. I absolutely do. The only question I want to ask about the first situation with you guys and Cleveland, and this is it, was if the roles were reversed and you guys were on the field and somebody swung a helmet from the other team, would you have done a Pouncey and would you have been booted for 2 games? Because Pouncey has to be revered in that locker room for doing what he did.
Yeah, I know we were holding our defensive guys back, but we all want to, protect our teammates and make sure nothing like that ever happens. But Pouncey has always had everybody's back in this locker room, so you want to make sure. That's why we were so critical about getting these 2 wins without him. Because he's a big stalwart for us, and he does so much for us, and he cares so much about this team.
By the way, how hard is it? Because I know being in that situation in Philly a few times when something's going on in the field where you want to run on the field. And for those that don't know, as soon as you run on the field, you're going to get fined for it. So how difficult was that to not be able to get on the field?
Oh, man. You have our GM, Kevin Colbert, on the sideline. He's pushing guys back. You're talking about we can't get guys suspended. We still got to play the next week. So, I think there was multiple guys who had level heads, that weren't in jerseys. They're like, guys, you can't do this. You got to be smart about this. But, I know we had a couple guys trickle onto the field. You saw the way the fines were handed out. If you were on that field, you got fined.
Yep.
What can you tell us about the job Mike Tomlin has done with this team this year?
I just think he's been consistent, whether we won or lost. He's never changed. I think sometimes you can get into a situation where, you feel like the sky's falling when you lose one game. For the most part, Mike T has just addressed it and said, we got to win this game, week in and week out. He's replayed a game plan, and he challenges us personally. I think he knows how to push our buttons where, we're never on even keel. We're always trying to attack.
Cam Heyward joining us. The Pittsburgh Steelers defensive lineman has 7 sacks this year. You guys now go play Arizona. 3 of your last 4 games on the road. This one in Arizona. Talk about from your position. Take people on the field a little bit. When you're rushing a quarterback, like when you played Cincinnati, I think it was Ryan Finley. When you play the Rams, it's like golf. More guys that are, when you do one-on-one pass rush that you're going 7 yards and the guy's going to be in the pocket. Well, now you got Kyler Murray and a moving type quarterback. How, if at all, does it change a defensive lineman's mentality when you're rushing the passer?
I think it changes a lot. I think when you get a non-mobile quarterback, you're able to take more chances on the edge. Our outsides are able to come in, and you don't have to call a game or a stunt where somebody's covered up to come back outside. But when you get these mobile quarterbacks, the pressure's got to come from the inside, and you got to make a box around him or a bowl where he can't, escape through these lanes. I think Kyler Murray does a great job of exposing that B gap, and then just running upfield, and they do design runs for him as well. He's really trying to test the defense in that approach. You get a Baker Mayfield, sometimes he's extending the pocket, but Kyler Murray is just going to, he's going to buy time and then he's going to run on you. And, he's had a lot of success in that way.
Can that sometimes, Cam, take away from the freeness of a pass rush, knowing that I got to stay in that B gap because, as you said, he can threaten the B gap, that you have to be a little more lane conscious?
Yeah, I think especially as D tackles, when you get these vertical runners, it's almost a 2-gap system where, you get that one-on-one block as a 3 technique. You got to make sure you don't get out of your gap and, expose the gap even more. Or if you're the guy who gets the 2-gap, where the A and the B gap on the backside where you get the double team, you got to make sure you're conscious of where and just be able to flow to the quarterback. You don't want to get out of your rush lanes. You want to keep him in the pocket. And I think we got a good approach because, we got a good secondary where if he does throw it, we think we can stop them that way as well.
Cam Heyward with us this morning, and obviously it'll be Devlin Hodges going forward here at quarterback. And I heard a great story that sort of related to him that goes back to training camp, even when he was at that point the fourth-string quarterback and, basically trying to do whatever he could to hang on to dear life for a roster spot. He had no problem talking trash when he took his reps up against the first-team defensive unit, didn't he?
Yeah. I think when he first arrived in camp, he was ready to go at us. I think sometimes you get these young quarterbacks, and sometimes that first day of practice, you can shrivel up and be like, whoa, this is a different speed. The way Devlin came in and has performed, the moment never feels too big for him.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports and analysis, download the ESPN app, and for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus.